everybody. Guess what day it is? What day is it? What day? It's
What day is it, Mike?
Day.
Listen, guess what today is?
Humpty.
I need
It's hump day.
It's better each and every Wednesday.
I like Humpty. I needed Humpty today. I was drained this morning. I woke up. It was.
I like your sweatshirt. Is that Puma?
It's Puma. A little collaboration with another brand. I forget the name of the brand.
That's actually fire.
You've probably
I didn't know
seen
they
this
dropped
little
that.
brand before. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you. You look nice today, Tommy Hilfiger.
Thanks.
They send you like a whole, because you know Ashley Nicole Moss is a one of the faces of Tommy Hilfiger. Made that announcement a little over a month ago.
Thanks.
Did they send you like a whole
So they send
closet?
you like stuff, and then when we did Fashion Week, we had like fittings for
Yep.
like custom stuff, and this was one of the things that I wore actually to the Jets game.
Right.
When Aaron Rodgers unfortunately went down. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we're gonna talk about him in a little bit.
What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? He's not even playing. Why are we still talking about him?
Aaron Rodgers is a gift that keeps on giving. But before we get started on the news of the day, we have some breaking news of the day. Came out about an hour ago. Patriots rookie cornerback Christian Gonzalez will miss the rest of the 2023 season with a torn labrum. This happened, I believe, at some point during the Dallas Cowboys game. He was going to be evaluated. He did not return to the game, and now it is officially, per Ian Rappaport, that he will miss the remainder of the season. So,
Well, that sucks for a
thoughts
team
on that?
that's already struggling. It sucks for him, player first. That's never good. And, you know, the Patriots, wow. Like, what's going to happen for the rest of this year and also with Bill Belichick? Interesting.
We shall see. But speaking of what's going to happen, listen, the Raiders there's real beef in Las Vegas right now. We've already spoken about Devontae Adams saying that he wasn't going to wait forever for the Raiders to figure it out. Josh Jacobs had a similar sentiment when they spoke to him throughout, I think it was post game last week or around that time.
I didn't hear that.
He didn't say he wasn't going to wait forever, but he spoke about being frustrated with the direction of the team. And if you're on NFL Twitter, Raiders fans are constantly calling for the firing of head coach Josh McDaniels. But now the fans are letting Raiders owner Mark Davis hear it directly to his face. So a video of Davis getting into it with fans who were screaming at him to fire the head coach McDaniels has gone viral on Twitter. And it's safe to say that Davis is not siding with the fans. But check this out. So the fans are yelling at him to fire Josh McDaniels, and Mark Davis is heard in the video saying, use your head, basically saying that the fans aren't bright if they want him to fire Josh McDaniels. The fans are not buying what he is selling, and they're going back and forth, and obviously security was trying to make sure that nothing crazy went down. I mean, Brandon, I know you have thoughts, so.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, in 2000, let's say January, get out of this, January of 2022, Coach McDaniel signed a 4-year deal worth $10 million a season, okay? So sometimes these owners hold on to their coaches for financial reasons, right? Because you still, in the NFL, if they fire him, he'll still be on the hook for around $20 million. And this owner is one of those owners that make his money off of the team, right? His father, the way his father got this team, Mark Davis, was just like bootstrapping, you know, and he also, like, it was almost like a scam almost how he got the team. He tricked the owner into selling to him. So it's interesting how they got their money. And now he is the heir of this team. So I say that because he's not like Robert Kraft or
no, so like not business savvy. I mean,
I wouldn't say not business savvy.
Let me rephrase. Sorry, It's not like he has his hands in other things, and then the
Correct.
football
So,
team is a byproduct of his fortune.
That's right.
Got
Jerry
it.
Jones making millions of dollars, if not billions, off the field in other areas. That's not him. So he can't afford to hire coach, fire coach, hire coach, fire coach, and some of these things not to hit. So I can see him holding on to Josh McDaniels definitely through the rest of the year, and even giving him part of next year to get this right. But Josh McDaniels has shown himself as a head coach. He's the one that's coming in, making the decisions on personnel. He's the one that's running the entire ship. And so he's going to have to be held accountable for his lack of production as a head coach. We saw it in Denver, and now we're seeing it again here in Oakland.
Here's my question, though. Like, I hear what you're saying about being on the hook to pay Josh McDaniels X amount of money. But if your fortune is directly tied to this Raiders team.
That's right.
And I believe in the business of football, it's about wins and losses before everything else.
Yep.
The more wins, the more profitable, because that trickles down to other things, right? Primetime games, ticket sales, extended seasons, playoffs, Super Bowl, things like that. That all brings in value, money.
That's right.
If Josh McDaniels is a big part of the reason why your wins are not outweighing your losses, then aren't you by definition then kind of shooting yourself in the financial foot by keeping him on when he is a big part of the reason why you keep losing? And if you continue to lose, you're losing money regardless. So I'm confused on the ideology there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listen, you got to think about it's hard to win in the National Football League.
Of course.
There's only a few teams, and Coach Payton told me this years ago. I was asking him about, like, the upcoming season. This is maybe even, like, 2015, 2014. I think it was Super Bowl 50. And we were out in San Francisco, and I was talking to him on the field, and he was like, look, B, the reality is only a few teams that really has a chance every single year. We're talking about 3, maybe 4. Everybody else is going to F it up, right? It's hard to win a National Football League because sometimes it's not just coaching. Sometimes it's the players, the personnel, or it could be the general manager. It could be ownership, right? It could be injuries. Look at Josh McDaniels. You got Chandler Jones. I don't know the situation there. He loses the defensive end. I'm blaming the quarterback situation on him. He brings in Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's a thing that he's always done. He leaves New England, goes to the Denver Broncos. He has Jay Cutler as his young, up-and-coming superstar at quarterback. He led his team throughout the year as the #1 offense. Then they slipped to 2. And then you go and you try to trade him for Matt Castle, right? So Josh McDaniels is a product of his system. Josh McDaniels is a product of that. So it's hard. You don't want to rush it because there's so many other things that goes into winning. But you got to figure out who's up, who's next. Just 2 years ago, everybody in the NFL wanted not everybody in the NFL, but Josh McDaniels was the hottest candidate. Right? So that was just 2 years ago. So he's going to have to make a decision here soon.
I got a special delivery from Nagin. She's saving my life. Brandon, you probably need one of these.
Why?
To wake up. She said she doesn't know if it's good. We will find out,
Am I not
folks.
woke? It's hump day.
You said that you're not woke.
Am I not woke?
Everyone says you sound like you just woke up. Are you sleepy today?
Actually, so I woke up, I did yoga like I always do, and meditated, did all of that. And because it's hump day, I was tired. I went back and laid back down. So I laid back down.
Really?
I got up, took a shower.
That's like the worst thing you can do.
Took a shower, tried to wake up. So I'm probably about 40 minutes ago, I got up from a early morning nap.
An early.
Has anyone ever taken a
nap
nap at 9 o'clock, 9:30?
I have. If I've been up early.
Yeah.
I've done that. Like I've had like early flights, and then like 11 o'clock I'm taking a whatchamacallit.
Damn, everybody in my the chat, y'all be talking about everything.
They want to know how many hours of sleep that you have gotten.
I'm prioritizing sleep right now, but I haven't been doing a great job of hitting my number the last 2 nights. I fell asleep last night at 12 o'clock, so 12 a.m., and then the night before it was like 1:30. But I'm getting up at like 6. It's about 6:30.
I've actually been really prioritizing my sleep. I'm somebody who, like, I've said it on this show, like, I will stay up just like my mind just like wandering. Like I do my best thinking at night. And because of that, like I tend to stay up a lot later, which is why I'm not a morning person. But I've been trying to like do like which for me is a good time frame, like between 12 and 1.
That's not bad.
I've been trying to like.
Because you're still getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I'm trying to like get in that window. Because normally I'm like a 2-3 girl, and then I'm up at like 8:45, which is crazy.
Right.
And then follows up with me. But
yeah,
we're working on it. We're getting better with the sleep. Nagin, it's not bad. I'm just adding a little bit of sugar to it, but it's not bad at all. So thank you. This will do.
There go Ashley. Ashley, when she comes in, you know, she has about 3 assistants.
No, I don't.
She has 3 assistants. Someone's doing her hair and makeup.
No,
someone's running to get her coffee.
I hardly wear. You know what? I hardly wear makeup on this show because it's just too much effort.
You don't put no makeup on?
I put on concealer. I put on lip gloss and mascara and maybe some blush, so I look like. But I don't do like the foundation, the eyeliner. Like I don't.
You don't do too much.
I don't do too much.
Okay.
All right. Well, speaking of doing too much, Baker Mayfield, he is really feeling himself. Listen, we spoke to Eisen Jr. yesterday.
Yep.
And Christian Eisen, and he spoke a little bit about Baker Mayfield. And one of the questions that I asked him was, hey, look, a lot of people, myself included, did not think that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team was going to be much of anything in the post-Tom Brady era. I think a lot of people, when they heard that Baker Mayfield was going to be the starting quarterback, were like, it doesn't move me. But right now, they're sitting at the top of the division, a division that was wide open for anybody to go ahead and stake their claim to. We're now a month into the season, but Baker is taking that a little bit further. He's got a little bit of that swag back from when his college days. So just weeks ago, a video of him trash talking Brian Murphy Jr. went viral where the QB was overheard because he was mic'd up, telling Murphy Jr. to, quote, get your effing weight up, little boy. Listen to this.
Mayfield pulls it back. He's going to run it himself, trying to stick on Murphy, and gets a couple of extra yards.
Wait up, little boy.
Okay, Baker. That's the Baker Mayfield we know.
Wait up.
This guy's trying to earn a spot to stick in an organization for a long time. Fourth quarter with the chance to win this game. Don't give it all you have. Go for it.
First of all,
yo,
I've seen fights break out from that term. Like I've been at the park and not football, but for basketball, because in New York we don't really like have pickup football games like that. I've heard like guys like, you know, take it to the rim or whatever and kind of like somebody and say, get your weight up. And I've seen fights break out from that. Like that's like such like a sign of disrespect. I feel like when you say that in a competitive space, it's basically saying you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, get out of my way.
Yeah, like, it's definitely, listen.
It's a trigger word.
It's definitely one of those terms that make you question your manhood a little bit. I love seeing this from Baker Mayfield. Sometimes the things that make us strong is the same things that tear us down, right? Out in Cleveland, Baker came in with this huge chip on his shoulder, Ashley, and he had, you know, some decent years, but then he also had some years where you're like, yo, this dude's a bust. And obviously he then gets let go, traded, goes to wherever he went. I don't even remember his journey. I know he ended up with the Rams. Where was he before that? I'm not sure, forget. And now he's here in Tampa. And so I love this because he hasn't changed. You know what I mean? As far as like the essence of him. Like he is a chippy guy. He is fiery, right? Like a Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers.
When he took the flag and he put it in center field.
But here's what happened. Remember, Zach Wilson came in with a lot like a swagger about him, a glow around him, and then he underperforms. Yeah. Yes, he like that flair where he would throw a ball like a Joe Burrow type vibe a little bit, like borderline cocky but super cool.
I never got that from him. I just got like this like kid from like Utah vibe.
Maybe I missed it, but I always felt like Zach Wilson had this thing about him, and I thought he was built for the big city. He underperforms. And now he's a shell of himself. You can see him, right? Look at his eyes. His head's down. You can't. Once you do that, that's like losing your confidence. And once that's gone, your game is gone. So for Baker Mayfield to
good point.
Hold the essence of who he is while tweaking certain approaches. Maybe he's changed things like how he approached the film room. Maybe approach his relationship with the teams, change that approach. Maybe he's changed the way he works out. I don't know, but what I do know is for him keeping who he is putting him in position to be the comeback player of the year.
I think that, I think, with Zach Wilson, I think more of the swag you're referring to I saw from him when he was in college.
Yeah.
I think when he entered the league, he wasn't as, like...
Because he started losing.
Even at the draft, I didn't see him with that, like, swag. Like, he just seemed a little uncomfortable. Like, even at the draft, he was, like, around all those other draftees, and he was just kind of like, what the hell?
Right.
Like, this is not Utah. But I think with Baker Mayfield, I've always liked Baker Mayfield as a player. I know that's like an unpopular opinion because of, what transpired in Cleveland with Odell and things like that. I liked him. My first job working my first big bowl game was the Orange Bowl when they took on Clemson against Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. So I saw, they got blown out, but his swag never left his body.
That's right.
It was always there. I like Baker's like trash talking kind of persona. I like that he hasn't lost that. I don't mind it at all. I just think that if you're going to do that, you do it when you're winning, not when you're losing.
That's right.
But I thoroughly enjoy it. I thought that clip was hilarious. And we have another one. He took it a little bit of a step further this time around. This clip comes from the team's 26-9 win against the New Orleans Saints. Now, if you are at work, I advise you to put some headphones on, your AirPods in. If you're at home, go ahead and turn the volume up because this one's interesting.
Fucking ball. It got hard as soon as I saw him running with the motion.
You didn't
What
hear
did he say? No.
Let's go ahead and run that one more time.
Fucking ball. It got hard as soon as I saw him running with the motion.
I don't know. What did he say?
He said, so they made a play, and Baker said, my situation got hard when I saw that.
No, he did not say that. That's what it just said?
He said, he said my got hard when I saw that.
I can't. Well, I got it on mute now.
I saw him running with the motion.
Yes, that's what the quote was. It said, my blank got hard when we just ran that.
No way he said that.
Yes, he did. I mean,
oh my goodness.
Said.
That's a.
you didn't. Give me the remote. Hold on a second.
So basically,
run it again, BC. One more time.
Fucking ball. It got hard as soon as I saw him running with the motion.
Put it on mute. Are you there?
It is on mute.
Yo, so when we throw up these clips,
someone said, "Hey, Baker
it comes
is
up
wildin'.
on our screens in the studio, and we turn the volume up. So I really couldn't hear it, but he definitely said that.
He said,
"I don't even know."
He said,
"This would be my
got
reaction."
hard when we ran that route or something like that. I don't know what he said, but
as his receiver, I wouldn't even know how to respond to that.
Everyone in the chat say, "Whoa, big pause."
Yeah, that's something different. I've never even heard that before. Like,
yeah, let me go ahead and get the direct
I've heard
quotes.
the term before, but not in sports. I've never went up to a teammate and said that. Like, you're gone too far, Baker. You're gone too far.
The direct quote was, "My got hard as soon as I saw him running in the motion back." That's what he said.
In the motion back. What's he doing in the back?
The motion back. I don't know. That's what the quote is.
Yo, Baker tripping. See, this is when he crossed the line and he started losing his teammates right here. Stuff like that. Baker, you're going too far. You're having a great year. You're sitting at the top of your division. Hey, just don't go too far. You went too far.
So he says that to you, and you're like, thanks, man.
Yeah, because it's your quarterback. Like, when the quarterback walks in a room, they have like this. They have this presence, especially when it's your starter and he's playing well. It's like they have so much respect everywhere they go. They're not normal players. They're not like everybody else on the roster. So like, it's almost like as if a coach, right? Like, so him saying that to you, you wouldn't respond to it the same way you would respond to your homeboy, right? Unless y'all came in together, it's like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That's a little different. But when your quarterback's been in the league a little bit and you're just now entering whatever, it's like you don't know what to say. It's like, okay, yes, sir. We had players used to call Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, yes, sir, no, sir. Like, what? Bro, we're on the same team. This is weird, Ashley.
You think Kirk Cousins says that?
Heck no. Kirk Cousins doesn't even curse. He says, he's like Deion Sanders.
You think Russell Wilson says some stuff like that?
Nah,
Russell got hard when you caught that pass.
I don't think there's any quarterback in the league talking like that. Guys will say something like that.
I feel like Fitzpatrick said some wild things back in the day.
No, he ain't saying that. I've never heard anybody say, like, that's actually a common term. Okay?
No, it is. It means like you got excited.
You got excited.
Yeah.
Right. But I've never heard that in basketball on the court. I've never heard that in football on the field. I've never heard that in sports. Right? That's beyond.
Are you taking it back right now?
Yeah. Like, it got what? You tripping.
That's the type of thing that, like, you go back to the sideline, bro, you will not believe what this man just said to me, dog. Like, he just...
What makes...
Never change, Baker. Never change. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, if you're on the other side of that, maybe you're just like, bruh, what? But I thought it was funny.
The legend of Baker Mayfield continues. It continues to grow.
Well, grow. That's funny.
I will say this, though. Look, Baker Mayfield's playing phenomenal. He's hushing a lot of doubters. I don't even think he has even doubters like that anymore. He infused a lot of energy into his career when he went to the Rams last year, right? So he was in Carolina. So he was in Carolina, won the quarterback competition, then lost it, then asked for a trade or whatnot, ended up with the Rams, and they loved him. I thought it was a huge mistake for Baker to leave because he could have been the guy that actually took over for Matthew Stafford. But Baker bet on himself. That's that confidence that we're talking about. He goes to Tampa. Tampa was trash last year. Obviously, no Tom Brady, so he saw the opportunity. That defense didn't play well last year, and now they're playing really good ball. So Baker has done a phenomenal job of just putting himself in position, not only to take back his career, but this year he could potentially even be comeback player of the year. Like, he's the leading candidate for it. Like,
for sure. I feel like he's definitely in the mix for it. His chat is hilarious right now. They said Jay Cutler never said nothing wild to you like that. Someone said, I bet Phillip Rivers said some wild things back in his day. And then
no, Jay Cutler, go ahead.
And then the last one was that Russell Wilson's probably on the sidelines saying, let's get those biscuit eating Bulldogs.
Jay Cutler is like Smoking Jay. Jay Cutler he don't say anything.
Really?
He's all negative. He don't say anything positive. Jay Cutler don't say anything positive. You'll do something good, he'd be like, so you think you're good? You're like, dog, what? You come off 3 years, 100 catches, back-to-back Pro Bowls.
And
he's like, Brandon, calm down. You're not that good. Like, dog, chill out, bro.
That's hilarious.
Jay Cut is a hater. I don't know.
I only watched him like when he was with Kristen Cavallari. They had that reality show.
Right.
And he would make like a little appearance. And she would like be talking to him, and like he would just be like staring at his iPad, and she'd be like, what are you staring at? And it was like him watching the deers in the backyard on the camera. She's like, I'm talking to you. He's like, do you see these deers? She's like, I don't care. Like, I'm literally having a full-blown conversation. Why are you watching deers? Like,
but that's Jay. He's so next level with his humor and his assholeness, if I said that correctly. Yes, I can see him watching deer and checking his iPad, but now you come into his space and you like irk him a little bit, he's going to use that as an opportunity to piss you off even more. Like, I'm watching deer.
He came across very like annoying. Like,
but he did that intentionally.
I know, but he was just like, you want to strangle him in his sleep annoying. Like that. I used to watch that and I thought that. I mean, it was funny because I wasn't married to him. But
so talented, so smart. Could never put it all together on the field. I mean, there's a few of us that couldn't, man. That just one of the biggest disappointments of my career, and that's actually where our relationship actually started to fracture, because it was to like be his teammate. Well, for me at least, because we came in together. We were brothers, right? Like, and I still like in a weird way consider him my brother, right? It's like family feuds, whatever. Don't like him right now, but we came in together. We did everything together. And you always had to just say, oh, that's just Jay, whatever.
Right.
And then we got to Chicago. I used to say, no, bro, that's not cool. You can't say that. You can't do that. And he started getting pissed off. He'll do this to me in practice. In practice, I'll do something. He don't like it. He'll throw the ball in the dirt. So now I just ran 20 miles per hour, 20 yards downfield, decelerated. So I'm putting all this pressure on my damn hips and knees on the turf in our indoor facility. And I want this rep, and you throw it in the dirt. And it's like, because I did something maybe 2 plays before, or
he's
maybe the day before.
passive-aggressive.
Like, just throw it in the dirt, right?
Damn.
Or he knows he's supposed to come to me, and he go the other way. And so instead of me just jumping back in the huddle, what I'll start doing is like, hey, I'm going to go over here on the sideline. I'll say this in front of the whole team. Hey, Jay, I'm going to go here on the sideline. Let me know when you're ready to practice. Let me know. And he'll be like, what? I'm like, bro, you just threw the ball in the dirt. Like, what do you want? Who you think what are you doing? What are you doing?
He's passive aggressive.
Right.
That's what that is.
He used to throw the ball in the dirt.
Damn. That's sad. Well, hopefully you and Jay can, enter couples therapy one day and
Jay Cuddy.
reconvene.
Talented.
Listen, we're going to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. We spoke about on this show, I want to say earlier this week, we played a clip of Tom Brady saying, I don't understand how you can be friends with the competition and kill the competition at the same time. Well, it seems that the Greek freak, a.k.a. Giannis, shares his same sentiments because although it's not uncommon for guys across the league to work out together during the offseason, whether it's one-on-one or during open runs at some of your favorite gyms, the offseason is a time when you really get to see those dream teams that you've envisioned, in 2K and in video games. Well, Giannis is not interested in doing any of that. Here's what he had to say about why he never trains with fellow NBA players.
Buddy thing. You've strayed away from that. It's kind of the old school mentality. Why have you taken on your career like that?
I think it's a very long answer. One,
go ahead. We got time, y'all.
I cannot fake it. I cannot fake it. And how can we work out together? When we are in the same league and we going against one another. I'm trying to create something for my family, and you're trying to create something for your family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to. The reason I'm not winning a championship, it's you.
Yeah.
The reason I'm working out every single day to win a championship, and you get on the in my path, in my way. How the hell will I work out with you? But at the end of the day, as I said, like I wear my heart on my sleeve. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't know how to be fake. I cannot do this, and I feel like the moment I work out with players, then you have to, kind of maybe hang out with them later. Then when you play them, you have to talk before the game with them, and then after the game you have to sit down and have another conversation with them. And then when you go to the family room, you see them again, you got to talk to them. And then when you see them in the post, you want to put your shoulder into their chest. You cannot do it because they might text after the game, come on, guys, what you doing? I'm like, I can't play the game like that. I do not work out with people that play in the NBA right now. That's what so that is the 2 different things. If you're not in the NBA, I have no problem working out with you. If you're in the NBA and I'm gonna see you in the season, and as I said, when I get to the city, I have to text you to hang out, to come to dinner. And after dinner, I don't know what it might be. And then the next day, I have to see you before the pregame, and then I have to see you after the game, and then we have to. Oh, I'm not.
That's a lot.
Man, I'm not. I don't even do that with my wife, man. I don't even take my wife to dates. I'm not gonna take you on a date. What? No.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, especially if you do that every other night.
Yeah,
that's
no.
A lot. Hey, you got.
Yo, I love Giannis, yo.
Giannis is
him.
different. This is definitely different than I think that we've seen the direction of the NBA become. Yep. Or the direction the NBA has headed, at least. A lot of these guys, do business together outside of just being friends. You talk about Draymond and Clutch and his tie to Spring Hill and LeBron and his relationship there. These guys attend each other's weddings. They're friends. The infamous banana boat is kind of the thing that started the whole thing with Melo. He wasn't on the boat, but it was Melo, Wade, those guys. You see a lot of open gyms during the off season with, teammates, but also other guys coming in and those dream teams that you envision. And Giannis is always kind of just with his brothers. You never really see him with anybody else, any other players. And now we know the reason why.
Giannis cracked the code.
It's interesting because there have been players who train with other players and have been ultimately very successful. Look at Steph Curry.
Right.
Steph Curry is notorious for training with other players, and he has 4 world champion rings.
Yes.
So he's a 4-time world champion, rather. Then you have Kevin Durant. He trains with other guys, 2-time world champion. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kobe Bryant used to do
what are you
it.
saying?
So I think
I don't feel like Kobe was. It felt like Kobe was different. His approach was more on a mentorship. Like he would pluck like 1 or 2 to pour into. But I feel like the field, he was like, nah, stay away.
Yeah, it's interesting because there have been guys who believe in, training with their peers and being friendly with their peers and have seen the ultimate level of success. So it's not that it's not possible. Giannis has achieved a level of success as well. Obviously, he's a champion too, and he has decided to go another route. So it's interesting to see how you can take 2 different routes but ultimately end up in the same place.
No, 100%. I just think that we're seeing the levels of greatness, right? Or I wouldn't even say that. It's almost like levels of mindset. You understand? So when we talk about Michael Jordan's edge and his fire, you talk about Kobe Bryant's mindset, the Mamba mentality, Tom Brady, TB12. When you think about Serena, when you think about like certain athletes and their mindsets, it's like now you're seeing what makes him great. Because I absolutely love this. Ashley, you're right that you can get to the same destination 2 different ways, whether it's Giannis's way or KD's way. But, it's hard. It is hard to train with a guy and they see all your moves. And then you're sitting and you're saying like, yeah, I do this because you did that, et cetera, et cetera. You want to do that with your teammates, right? But not the guys that you're battling against. So it is interesting to see that Giannis is almost like in a league of his own when it comes to this, because there's not because the majority practice together, they work out together.
We had this conversation when we spoke about Tom Brady, and I asked you, did you agree with what he was saying? And you kind of said the same thing, that there's, the Tom Brady killer instinct, and then there's the rest of us. You said for you, listen, I didn't have an issue being, friend. If anything, it makes it kind of like a brother relationship. You want to like hit them harder. You want to do X, Y, and Z harder because you do know you have that relationship with them. So it doesn't have like, a negative vibe to it because this person knows you. They know, look, this is just what the game is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear Giannis saying that, because I do think that we have seen, especially in this modern era, that you can go ahead and be friendly and still kill the competition.
Yeah.
The two, I don't feel like the two are, synonymous. Now, I do think that maybe for him, his mindset is he can't go ahead and separate. And that's different. Like if you're unable to separate friendship and competition, and if you face your friends in a certain game, your mindset automatically goes to, I can't go as hard as I want to, then you have to know yourself. But I definitely think it's possible to kill your friends in a game. That's the best thing to do it.
Yeah, you said something really interesting as far as like maybe he doesn't have the ability to separate. I felt like I grew to be able to separate, right? Like that's why I was able to go out there and say, yo, what up to, me and Darrell Revis, we didn't talk before games. Well, actually, it was the guys that I really had to go against, like Darrell Revis, Antonio Cromartie, Richard Sherman. That was real beef before the games. But everybody else, it was easy for me to say, what's up? Can I get your jersey after the game? Sure, no problem, right? Because as soon as the game came on, I morphed into a different person. Like I morphed into just a monster, and it was all about just winning and dominating the person in front of me. So I was able to do that. I respect Giannis and Tom Brady for their approach. That's why like they are who they are. The only thing for me, when it comes to this, hearing him talk about the approach, playing and practicing with different players around the league, I did that early in 2010 is when I opened up my first facility, and I had Mike Evans. I had Ocho, T.O., even some of the babies like Antonio Brown. And there's so many other guys. Like you look up and we got 12, 15 all-pros. Well, became all-pro. All-pros or became all-pros training. So like that era, well, I feel like it started back then a little bit because quarterbacks and then some, quarterbacks started it. Then receivers start doing it, coming together, training. And I had no problem with that. What I had a problem with was with my teams, where we get to practice And now social media is popping, Twitter, Instagram. And now I'm working on moves in practice or against Darrelle Revis or against Champ Bailey. And now they're tweeting or Instagramming out my clips one-on-one. So for them, it's like, oh, this is content for a page. But I'm like, yo, you're showing my moves, right? Like, I'm literally working on this move. So I had to go to like Coach Bowles and Coach Trustman and all these guys and say for the year, hey guys, don't film me in practice. No one-on-ones. I don't want any of my moves. You can put out me catching the ball, but anything from the line of scrimmage, because that's where the game is won or lost for a wide receiver. So those are the only things that I leaned into as far as like protecting my game, because every game, my approach could change. Sorry, you got me going down memory lane.
No, that's fine. Listen.
You got me going down memory lane. I would go into games, Ashley, with 3. Like, I'm going against you. Okay, Ashley, Nicole, Moss. All right, let me see. I'll break you down as a DB right now. Spicy. You go too far. But yeah, go too far. She the type of person that it can get real personal. She might slap you inside your head. So, okay, I'm not. So now my game plan, I'm breaking you down right now. So now my game plan is like, all right, don't go too far with the trash talk, because I knew I wasn't willing to go fight. And it wasn't because I didn't want to fight. It's because
you don't want to get kicked out.
I don't know. Yeah, I just did. It's too much energy. You know what I'm saying? My goal is just to win. My goal is to lead this game with 150 yards. So Ashley, Nicole, Moss, Spicy, it could be an OBJ, Josh Norman situation. Very smart. So she's going to know your moves before you even do them. So I got to work a little harder in the film room. So now what I'm doing against you is I'm like, all right, shoot. She done seen this move 4 times she done seen this move over the last 4 games. All right, so I'm going to give it to her. All right, I'm going to give it to her in the first quarter. I'm going to set her up, give it to her in the second quarter. And then in the third quarter, when the game is tight, we're a little tired, I'm going to then counter off of that move. Bah, bah. So I'll have that back, like literally playing chess. And then I will have a second move like that, then a third move like that. And then I will always have a gotta have it moment. When the game is on the line, I don't want to think when the game is on the line. Right. I just want to do it. So I already got it planned out. This is what she does when the game is on the line. And so this is my number 1 move. I'm not even thinking about it. So I'm going to do this and go. So that's how I would do it.
Well, listen, it seems that you don't have to ever worry about the Greek Freak having new friends. He's definitely team.
Love him.
No new friends. We'll talk a little bit more about the Bucks later on in the show, but we're going to talk some postseason baseball. This is for Brandon.
Why are you doing?
This is postseason baseball.
You're
Listen.
punishing me.
Do you know who Nick Castellanos is?
No.
Okay, well,
he's like a mafia boss.
No, he is a right fielder and a third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
kind of look like it. Look kind of like
he's letting his. Oh my God, he's letting his fingers do the talking. Now, listen, the Phillies took on the Marlins in the National League wildcard game last night for Game 1, and in the bottom of the 4th, after hitting a double, Nick gave this gesture to the opposing bench, and it had Twitter divided. You know, some baseball fans are of a certain demographic and an age group. When I say I mean by age. I don't mean like race. I mean demo in terms of age. And they did not appreciate this very similar gesture to flipping the bird. Right. But he did this basically with the ring finger because you can't flip the bird, you know. And
it's in their playoffs. That's what you said. They're playoffs.
But also he's letting the Marlins know, ring me. Like, I'm about to beat you guys. I'm going to get closer to getting that World Series. I love this. I didn't have an issue with it. We have the video of him doing it in real time so we can see it and see what has everybody up in arms. I don't have a problem with this at all. Philly loved it. He goes,
I love it. Where he went wrong, right? So, the legend is Tony Ayo was the first to do it. Well, no, that was that.
No, that was
Angel
this.
Reese. Yeah. Okay, Angel Reese.
Angel Reese did it, but she didn't flip it. She just pointed to it.
You got to point to it. No, he did this. He got to finish it. All you have to do is tap.
No, he did. He put his thing on, but he went like this. And then in the picture, you can see it. He pointed to it.
He did point?
I believe so. But even if he didn't, I think that he did this specifically, like, so it was very the thing is like, first of all, the timing of that, is good because you could accidentally like use your middle finger like that.
Yeah,
I would accidentally like go and then actually like do the finger like by mistake and be like, oh crap, that's not what I wanted to do.
Ashley, what happened? Well, I didn't want to throw up that finger, but you know,
I know.
muscle
I was like,
memory.
I tried to do it too
like,
quick,
yeah, okay,
and it's like
yeah,
this is the
okay.
one I normally use. This is the because this is kind of hard to throw up quickly. Like
it is. See if you
it's
can do
hard
it
to
10
just
times
like
in a row.
flick that out, and I can't do it. Yeah, it's hard to like.
Oh, see, I almost did it on the left hand.
Yeah, it's hard to like. So
He practiced in the mirror. That's
Hey,
what he
man.
did before he did that.
So I'm not mad at it. And listen, speaking of postseason baseball, the Minnesota Twins defeated the Toronto Blue Jays not last night, but in Game 1 of the American League wild card game. And this is the first time they have won. And if you're wondering rather why it's a big deal that they won a playoff game last night, it's because the last time they did that, I'm going to go ahead and run through some things here for you. Aaron Rodgers was in college. Anthony Edwards was 4 years old. Tom Brady won ring number 2. LeBron and Melo were entering year 2. Lionel Messi was set to make his Barcelona debut, and the iPod Mini was released. So that is the last time the Twins won a playoff game.
Right. Wow.
That's a long time ago. This is a big deal.
It is, but it isn't.
Ugh.
Why are you punishing me talking about 2 baseball topics? It's a record.
It's postseason baseball.
It's a record.
This is the best.
I feel like there's a rule. I feel like we need to establish a rule. If we don't talk about it, like there has to be a certain percentage that we talk about a sport to talk about it in postseason.
Brandon, post-October baseball is like the best baseball.
Really?
It's postseason baseball.
The Yankees,
No, we suck.
So who do you think is going to win it this year?
If it's not the Yankees,
Who's going to win the pennant? That's what they say. Who's going to win the pennant?
If it's not the Yankees, I don't care. But I think the Phillies look good though. I mean, it pains me to say that because
don't they have what is it? Phillies have Bryce Young or who's the stud they have?
I don't like
Pause.
Philly sports. I don't like Philly sports fans, but they look good. It should have been the Yankees.
All right. So this is a big deal. Great job to the Toronto Twins. That's where they're at.
They're the Toronto Blue Jays
Toronto.
lost to the Minnesota Twins. Jesus. Okay, you know what?
Great job, Minnesota Twins. We are so proud of you guys for scraping yourself at the bottom of the barrel, not only in baseball and sports. How many years has it been? How many years you said?
I can't do that math.
Oh, you said since Messi was whatever and Anthony Edwards was.
Since the iPod Mini came out was the last time they won a playoff game.
Good job, Toronto Twins.
Okay, well we'll take Brandon out of his misery and move on here. We're gonna talk some money. Jumpman. Michael Jordan becomes the first athlete, not basketball player, the first athlete on the U.S. Forbes 400 list with a net worth of $3 billion. That's billion with a B. Now, Jordan, who recently sold his majority stake of the Charlotte Hornets, also earns an annual $260 million in royalties from Nike. Now, I think that part right there is the biggest part of the story. Obviously, being a billionaire, $3 billion is a whole lot of cash. But we cannot ignore the fact that his $260 million annually in royalties is because of his mama and the genius of Mrs. Jordan. If you saw the movie Air, then you know that this was one of the things she would not budge on when it came to Nike and giving him his signature shoe. She made sure that he was receiving royalties from every shoe that was sold, and it wasn't just a one-off deal for using his name, image, and likeness, and that he was going to see a long-term benefit of what the Jordan brand ultimately became for Nike. I mean, I don't think that you can ignore or discredit that. That is huge. I think also I've said on this show plenty of times that it is the catalyst, it is the blueprint for what we have seen signature shoe deals become with other athletes, with LeBron, with Adidas and James Harden, that $500 million deal. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Jordan set the blueprint of what you should get and how what you get can ultimately dictate what you'll get
Right.
in the future.
It's funny that you talk about the blueprint because a lot of athletes today follow, the template that he created, his mother created for him. Charles Barkley, and I may botch this story a little bit, but you probably heard the story. I think last year it was trending. Charles Barkley came out and said if he listened to Michael Jordan, he would have had he would have had like $100-200 million in his bank account. Michael Jordan told him, don't go do the deal that he was going to do. Come over and take a piece of equity in Nike. He did not listen to Jordan. And for that reason, he lost on hundreds of millions of dollars. So that is the template. That is the blueprint. Actually, listening to you go through this story, it made me think about who's next. And it also made me think about, like, who's the first female athlete that could potentially become a billionaire when it comes to just off of their sport and what they're doing with their brand off the field or court? I don't know.
I mean, you got to think about it this way.
Because of her fund. She has a fund.
She has a fund. Also, I mean, her husband is, I believe, if he's not a billionaire, he's very, very close.
Yeah, founder of Reddit. So many other things.
He's very, very close. Not only that, but you remember she has equity in the Miami Dolphins.
2%.
But it's double what she and her sister bought it for. I believe they invested for, I want to say, I don't know, was it like 150 or something like that? I don't know, is what their piece was worth. And now it's like 4 or 5 million, like 400 or 500 million. Like it's a lot more.
Right.
She also has a clothing line. She has a production company. We got to just go keep it real. Whatever.
You keep talking.
I'm just naming
you
stuff
wearing
that she
it?
has.
You got a piece of her?
I'm not wearing it, but she does have it. She has a production company. Which everyone knows.
She's balling.
I feel like
I don't want to be
Serena could
disrespectful. She
definitely
is
do
balling,
it.
but the clothing line is one of those things like, okay, we tried it.
Listen, sometimes it's hit or miss. Same thing with Sierra. Her clothing line, she tried it. It didn't work out.
Facts. I tried supplements. My supplements are still on the shelves. Shit, it happens. Rod Smith told me when I first got to the league, he picked me up from the team hotel, and he's like, all right, we're gonna go to a team party. So he calls me, hey, I'm downstairs. Jump in his car, then we go to his crib. He's like, I got to pick something up. We go in the basement, he had all these boxes. I'm like, what is all this stuff? He said, well, they say only 1 out of 10 businesses make it. So I started 10 of them. He says, I started 10 of them. Serena got 10 of them. We know the clothing.
Listen, she has multiple. I mean, remember her deal with Nike is super lucrative.
Yeah, no,
I think she has a deal with like a car company. I want to say Escalade or
yeah. She'll really have to get it in the business realm as an entrepreneur, like you said. Her investments. She has a fund. She's investing, and I don't know her discipline. I don't want to just put her in a box and say she's investing in minority men and women. I think she's doing much more than that, but she definitely has a focus. So she'll hit off of that. And who is there to like partner with her and look over some of these deals with her and, even teach her in a lot of ways? It's her husband. He is a legend in the Valley.
Shout out to Alexis. Listen, your partner is your biggest asset or your liability. Choose wisely, folks.
Who's next?
Wisely.
LeBron James, Steph Curry, Tom Brady, Manning.
LeBron's probably the closest.
LeBron's the closest. I think Steph is going to hit it because he has a similar deal with Under Armour.
Spring Hill's already worth like I want to say $800 million or something like that. So like he's very, very close.
Steph, the Mannings will do it just off of Omaha Productions. Omaha Productions is booming right now. They got
Omaha.
It. So.
Listen, we're going to keep on the topic of money because Beyonce and the B is for big bags. All right, check this out. Beyonce's Renaissance Tour, which I had the privilege of attending. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Last one is in Kansas.
Yeah, it already happened. So her tour, for now, has come to an end. Has grossed over $579 million just from 56 shows. Now, it officially becomes the highest grossing tour by any female artist, Black artist, and solo American act in history. Now, this record is expected to be broken next year or later in the year, rather, by Taylor Swift because she's going to be continuing her tour. Okay. And she's already Europe, right? No, she's doing more American dates. And I believe she might be doing some European dates, but she's already very close to this number, and she hasn't finished her tour yet. So Beyonce holds this record right now. It is expected that Taylor Swift will surpass this, but Beyonce still have the highest grossing tour by any black artist in history. So even if Taylor Swift passes it and has the female solo act record on her side, Beyonce will still have the highest grossing tour of any black artist, male or female.
Right. Well, I saw something last week where it said her tour infused $3 billion into the American economy. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's how powerful she is, her brand is, her creativity. So that's amazing. She's awesome. It's going to be interesting to see what she does next.
Renaissance, her whole album, that's why it was just part one. It's supposed to be 3 parts. So each album's a different sound. This was very like dance oriented. So it'll be interesting to see what she does with Act 2, Act 3.
Hold on. So you're saying she's going to have 3 albums and 3. So basically, she's curating 3 experiences around.
Yeah, so Renaissance Act 1 was a very heavy, like, dance, metallic, disco
and that's
type.
an album and a tour.
It was an album and a tour. The movie comes out on November 30th.
See what I'm saying?
I already got my tickets
and then,
for that,
and
by
then
the
there's
way.
going to be a part 2 where it's another.
So then the Renaissance album part 2, whenever it comes out, is going to be a different sound completely, and then a different tour vibe completely, and then Act 3 will be the same, a different sound, a different vibe. I don't know if she's going to retire.
That's dope.
But see, this was very dance oriented, very like remnant of like the gay clubs in like New York City and things like that. Her film also comes out November 30th, which is expected to gross a lot of money. They said in the first day ticket sales, it did $7 million in ticket sales just in the first day of them going on sale. And also the cool thing about that movie is that you'll finally get music videos for every song on the album. So she's holding that for theatrical release. Listen, her and Taylor Swift are killing it. Taylor Swift right now has her tour in movie theaters as well, sold out. They're two of the big. They're the biggest in the game, the both of them, on 2 very different spectrums, very different fan bases. Right. But you got to, whether you're a fan of both or neither or one or the other, you got to give credit where credit is due. There's no man doing what these 2 women are doing.
100%. I mean, there's, Beyonce. Yesterday we had our biz dev call. Myself, Miss Bonnie, who's behind the scenes. She don't like being known, and then also Allie Greifinger, someone who runs all biz dev for us. And she was she's a Swiftie, so I'm calling you out right now. And she was trying to explain to me like the legend of Taylor Swift, and she had us listening to a few songs. I couldn't see it. I couldn't hear it.
Taylor Swift's music.
I couldn't see it. I couldn't hear it because the reason why I went down this path is because I was about to say they're both super creative. I can't really put Taylor Swift in that category. Now, she's been able to create a massive following, a huge fan base that loves her. And so shout out to her because like she's created something that a lot of people love. For me, it's not my taste. But for Beyonce, like she's so creative. And she's creating these experiences. And so I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, men and women that's in the chat that's watching that rock with paper route. And it's like, whatever, if you have a brand, make sure that you lean into the brand and also the creativity around experiences, because that's where you see, people separate themselves. Experiences, creativity is critical, and there's a difference between marketing and branding.
I'll say this. I think with Beyonce, and this is how I was explaining it to my mom the other day, we were having this conversation. Beyonce's fan base has grown up with her. So if you see, a lot of her music has evolved. It's more mature. It's sexier. It has a lot of sexual references and things. Like her music is no longer the Destiny's Child type music. Her fan base is drastically different than Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's music, I think the reason why her fan base is so vast, I mean, from like 10-year-old girls to like 50-year-old women, is because she's in her music, she makes music about universal topics.
That's what Allie was telling me. And
love and high school crushes and shaking off your hater. It's very just innocent. It's very just like non-age. It doesn't gear towards one specific age group, one specific race. It's topics that I feel like even if like the experience is different, the topic is the same. Whereas Beyonce, like now that she's a lot older, and her fan base has grown with her, her music resonates with a certain demo. Taylor's is so much more vast, and I think a lot of parents enjoy the fact that their little kids, like 10-year-old girls, they don't have a problem taking them to a Taylor Swift concert because she's not talking about.
That's what Ali said yesterday. She was like, my niece,
Monica
that's an
Lewinsky on my
opportunity for
shirt,
me to
you know what I mean?
bond. There's an opportunity for me to bond with my niece because I kind of came up on Taylor Swift, and now my niece, my 8-year-old, 9-year-old nieces are listening to Taylor Swift as well. So we talked about this yesterday, right? Like you said that Taylor Swift doesn't need any PR. It's competition. It's competition of the elite of the elite. Mm-hmm. This is why she's doing this thing with Travis Kelce.
I'm not doing this with
She's
you
trying
again,
to surpass the Beehive.
No,
she is.
No, that's not true.
Think about it. You just said she's going to come back out, and eventually she's going to surpass Beyonce just as the most grossing.
It's not competition. That Travis Kelce's not doing anything in that department for her.
The NFL is, though.
He's not doing anything in that department for her.
So the NFL has gained around probably like 25 more million fans, casual fans, and Taylor Swift has grown as well. I would like to see her numbers. We keep talking about the NFL, how many people are viewing Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. Travis Kelce, probably over 1 million new followers. How many has she gained through this whole ordeal?
I don't know. I'm not doing this again. I'm not. I refuse to go down this rabbit hole. I told you I gave all my energy to Taylor Swift and that topic yesterday. So we're going to get back into football. Aaron Rodgers takes a shot. No pun intended. Aaron Rodgers made his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and it appears that Travis Kelce was public enemy number 1 for the Jets QB. When speaking about the Chiefs-Jets Sunday Night Football matchup, Rodgers spoke on how the Jets were able to limit Kelce and also gave him a not-so-nice nickname in the process. Listen to this.
Him down a little bit. He didn't have, his crazy impact game. Obviously, he had, some yards and stuff, but I felt like for the most part, we played really tough on defense, especially the last 3 quarters. And
let's go ahead and run that one more time, just because I don't think that we were able to hear the nickname.
Didn't have a crazy game, and Mr. Pfizer, we kind of shut him down a little bit. He didn't have, his crazy impact game. Obviously, he had, some yards and stuff, but I felt like for the most part, we played really tough on defense, especially the last 3 quarters. And
okay, well, Aaron Rodgers referred to Travis Kelce as Mr. Pfizer. Now, if you don't understand the reference, Pfizer obviously, as we know from the COVID era and the continued COVID-19 just outbreaks and cases throughout the country, Pfizer was one of the vaccines that were being offered as a way to combat COVID. Now, Kelce currently has a commercial in rotation with Pfizer, encouraging people to consider another vaccine/booster in the midst of the expectation that there will be an uptick in cases during the fall, winter months as people, start going inside more and things like that. And here's the commercial here.
Get this season's COVID-19 shot when you get your flu shot.
2 things at once.
2 things at once!
2 things at once!
I'll have 2 things at once, please. Now back to 2 things at once.
2 things at once.
That's not 2 things at once.
Mama.
Travis, ask about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Okay, so that commercial airs during football season, specifically during games and stuff. We have seen it. I haven't seen it anywhere there's not been a game on at that time, so I think it's tied directly to football programming.
Right.
Listen, I understand Aaron Rodgers' take. He's in the sense of, he's very modern. He's very anti-modern medicine.
Right.
He's more natural remedies, the ayahuasca and the whole,
retreat.
Saying I'm vaccinated when he really wasn't. And the play on words and that whole 9. And listen, I don't have an issue with people deciding to do what's best for them and their bodies and their beliefs. Everyone is entitled to their own existence in this world and their own experience with medicine. I know people have, their own reasons for doing certain things. Obviously, if you are employed by a company that requires you to get it, it's up to you to make that decision whether or not, or had required you to have gotten it rather in the past, because those mandates have been lifted.
Right.
That's totally, up to you whether you're going to adhere to it or not. And we saw that during the NBA season with Kyrie Irving and other people like that. The Mr. Pfizer thing, though, rubs me the wrong way, because to date, 6.9 million people have died from COVID. To date. As of October 4th, today's date, 6.9 million people have died from COVID. And whether or not you are team modern medicine or whatever the case may be, the vaccines prevented more deaths from happening, more families from being broken apart. It saved people from having to experience such a traumatic illness that 9 times out of 10 they were not going to come out of. And we saw those deaths happen at historically high numbers when COVID was at its peak, and there was no vaccine. There was nothing to go ahead and combat that. So just that alone, I feel like making those jokes is just irresponsible, because whether or not you believe in the science, whether you would not believe whether you want to believe the conspiracies, whatever, you can't ignore that this saved people's lives.
Yeah, but that the thing is, it's those guys, the Aaron Rodgerses of the world, the Joe Rogans of the world, they think it's a joke, right? So that's why it's easy for them to make a joke, because you understand, like, they think there's a conspiracy. They think it's government.
So they think all those people that died is a conspiracy?
Well, they think that there's more to it, right? So, like, I don't follow, those guys. I don't know, what is they called, the far right?
I don't know if he'd be considered far right. I think that's more like the MAGA type people, or maybe far right and then there's MAGA. I don't know. They're tiers.
Got it all the same.
I don't know.
All like vote on the same.
I don't even know anymore.
But listen, I think they don't believe that this thing was real. So, like you said, that's their approach, and I think that's why you see them at times when they're doing shows, they're taking shot at the pharmaceutical companies, the government, or athletes in this case.
I don't have an issue with Travis Kelce being a spokesperson for this. Travis Kelce has a following, even before the Taylor Swift situation. I think a lot of young football fans look up to Travis Kelce. He's cool. He's hip. You see him on SNL. You see him on other things. The Chiefs are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. So if Travis Kelce being part of a campaign that maybe those kids will say, hey, grandma, did you go ahead and get your flu shot? I don't want you to get sick. If that is a byproduct of him being part of, what's wrong with that?
Well,
what is wrong with somebody promoting the option? Now, he's not saying to get it. He's saying consider getting this shot to prevent you from, and knowing what we have seen. What's wrong with that?
Well, the flu. I'm just talking about right now. I'm just talking about the pharmaceutical industry. We do know that there's a lot of industries that are corrupt. The pharmaceutical industry is one of them, right? Like the way they push certain medicines and push certain things to certain hospitals and doctors, so they can make a shit ton of money.
I agree.
A lot of times, in a lot of these spaces, they care more about the bottom line or what they're putting in their pocket than the actual work for the people. So I think that that when you talk about that industry, the banking industry, the government, there's certain things where there's a lot of corruption, and it just leaves people wondering what's real, what's not. And I think that's why we see a lot of guys taking these type of stands.
And I don't have an issue about, questioning, the pharmaceutical companies and things like that. But I just think from a sensitivity standpoint, there are a lot of people whose families were forever changed by COVID. Right. I have friends who lost their parents, an aunt, an uncle, a grandmother from this disease. Yeah. And we were seeing it at record high numbers. I mean, you got COVID, and before these vaccines were available, it was almost a death sentence. Yeah. You almost knew like you weren't coming out of that. So just from that standpoint, I get Aaron Rodgers' stance, and that's totally, I've never been like, I don't personally agree with it, but it's not my life. It's not my stance, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. I just feel like there needs to be, when having these conversations, a level of sensitivity for the people who have lost loved ones. Because I guarantee if you would have had those conversations with them and say, hey, with all the possible side effects of these vaccines and all the shadiness that pharmaceutical companies do, Would you have gotten this vaccine for your grandmother if you knew the alternative was what it was? I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people would have been like, hell yeah, give me the side effects.
Right. Okay.
So just a little bit of a more sensitivity chip, Aaron Rodgers. That's all. You and your ayahuasca, you're entitled to do what you do. But speaking of Travis Kelce, his teammate and BFF Patrick Mahomes joined 610 Sports KC, which is a radio station in Kansas City, on Monday to comment on the controversial decision during the Sunday night game of, like I said, the Chiefs and the Jets, to call back a Jets interception after instead a defensive hold call was put on Sauce Gardner. Here's what Patrick Mahomes had to say about it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you get your hands around the guy's neck at like 15 yards downfield, they're going to call something. If it's going to be holding or illegal contact, it's just not allowed. So I was trying to, once I saw him grab him, I threw it up there to give Marquez a chance, kind of knowing that the flag was going to come. So, I mean, you could see it. You can see it from my position, and I mean, I understand people want to let teams play and stuff like that, but you can't get your hands around guys' necks like that.
Well, listen, if you forgot the play that we are referring to, we have that for you as well. Here you go.
To be super just black and white here, because when you get into all the other stuff, you leave too much gray. As like I for me, it's a hole and it's a penalty. And I'm a Jets fan. I'm a Sauce Gardner fan. I played for the team.
Overturn an interception, though.
Well, what was interesting to me was hearing from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes on the radio show on Monday said, I was looking that way. I saw that he held him, and that's why I threw the ball, because I knew we were going to get a penalty. Now think about that, because first he's like, damn, like, and this is like the nuance and the detail and the levels of playing the quarterback position. So you're thinking like, damn, is this true, or is this is a Monday morning quarterback where you can look at the film and you can say whatever, you can make any statement, right? Because you've seen it from a different perspective, a different lens. And I don't think that's the case. Why? Because they weren't throwing at Sauce Gardner pretty much all game. He doesn't really get targeted. So you have Sauce Gardner over there. Pre-snap read, I got Sauce Gardner over there. And also, there's 3 guys over there. You have a safety, and you have someone else that's coming. Why? That was a terrible pass. Why would Patrick Mahomes actually make that throw in that situation? We rarely see him do that, ever. Watch the play. I believe what he said, that he sat back, he felt it was a hole, and threw the ball so he can get the penalty. That's situational football at its finest right there.
I just feel like the flag was extremely late. The flag was...
Quarterbacks go through these scenarios and situations, but the real good quarterbacks take advantage of this. They jump off sides. Okay, go, everybody go. We got a free play. Right? So there's a lot of free play opportunities within the game. So these quarterbacks, and that's why I said they're a little different. They're playing a game within a game, totally different than any other position. So if that ball doesn't go that way, the referee doesn't make that call. But because he threw the ball, that's why he had to make that call, and it felt like it was late. And, yeah, obviously it's still a debate. You feel that, and a lot of people feel that it was a bad call, or it shouldn't even been a flag, period.
Yeah, I don't think that's a flag.
Period.
I'm not negating that it's a hold, it's a baby hold, it's a little juvenile hold, it's a peewee football hold. Like, do I expect that to be called in the NFL? Yes, no, maybe so. But do I expect that to overturn an interception? Absolutely not.
All I know is if I was that wide receiver, and I don't know, was that
I believe it's Jermaine Johnson.
Okay, if I'm Jermaine Johnson, I'm pissed off. I want that call. I'm looking at the ref, and I'm like, right after that call, I got my hands up saying, I'm doing this. Did you not see the hold, right? So, playing the game, being in that situation, I want that, because there's too many situations where they don't call that, and it affects the game. So.
All right. Well, listen, we are going to, let me grab my basketball here. Because it's basketball season. Woo, 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 woo. I'm so excited.
Kinda.
No, it's basketball season. Don't be a hater.
Nobody cares about basketball until March.
You don't care about basketball until March. Us real hoop heads have been waiting months for this. We are back, baby. We are back. Listen. And Media Day has concluded for all of the teams in the NBA. So we're going to go through some of the biggest sound bites that, you know, made some waves in the sport of basketball. So here we go. Damian Lillard has something to say. Now, we've only heard from Damian Lillard with a few tweets and an open letter to the city of Portland and its fans after he was traded. In one of the most anticipated trades of the year, Damian Lillard was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks and not to the Miami Heat, as many anticipated, due to it being widely reported that that was his only desired trade destination. Well, in a sit-down with ESPN's Mark Spears, Lillard recalled the moment that he knew he was, quote, meant to be a Buck. Listen.
I would say the day that I got here, you know, I got in, they had like the rally, and then there was like a lot of introductions, you know, meeting a lot of people. They did a video. We made a lot of stops. I had to do, you know, physical stuff. And then by the time I got back to the spot and, you know, I was sitting there by myself and I kind of just took it all in and just thought about all the different moving parts of it. And that was when I was just like, man, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. And I just, in that moment, I just settled in with it.
Well, we also have a video of Damian's first look with his new team, and it's a little bit of a height difference. Check this out.
I ain't never been in a portal like this. I tried it.
Dame said, I've never been in a picture like this before. I guess he's not used to being the smallest guy on the team. But listen, they look good. The Milwaukee Bucks, obviously, they got the size with those three big men. They got the offensive ability. Like I said, they did get a little bit defensively worse because Drew Holiday's now in Boston. Right. So it's going to be interesting what they do to fill the void of his absence. But I think a lot of people, because Damian Lillard was so adamant about being traded to Miami, and that was his only trade destination. Then we heard the story about him saying to Portland's front office and management, look, if it can't be Miami, let me just come back.
Yeah.
Like, don't trade me. They basically said that's no longer an option, and he ended up in Milwaukee. So some people are saying he's using lemons to make lemonade, even though that's not necessarily what he wanted. I do think it could have been worse off. He could have gone to, say, a Toronto, where Portland would have got a lot in return, but Damian would have been in the exact same situation he was in Portland. Yes, Milwaukee is not Miami, but he did go to a contender. He did go to a team that has a chance to go to the championship, to go to the Western Conference Finals. It may not be Miami, but if you're not going to get the city that you want, at least you get the opportunity that you've been looking for, and he got it.
Well, this is a better situation for Dame. And sometimes that's what happens. God, the universe, just like work in your favor. Dame wanted, like you said, to get to Miami. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Dame, Jimmy Butler, Bam, I don't know if that gets them over the hump.
Oh, you're crazy.
And so Dame being in this situation, it does, like what he said, it does feel right. You know, think about that. Like, Chris Middleton was banged up last year, but he was an absolute stud the year that they won it. You know, it's like, damn, how are you guys letting this guy just come in and play like a superstar? Like, so he emerged. He's not a superstar, but he played like a superstar that year, especially in the postseason. And we know who Giannis is, and we just saw Chris Middleton is not a superstar. Oh. Yeah. Right, we good there?
Yeah.
Okay. but Giannis, we've just seen his mindset. You just talked about the clip. We showed that clip there. And Dame, like, to me, if they can put this together, meaning the chemistry and work together, which I don't see any type of conflicts, they're the favorites in the East to me.
It's between them and Boston. I think that Boston has a little bit more of a defensive edge than Milwaukee has.
You're right.
I do think offensively they're both going to be equally yoked. But it's that defense that I'm a little bit worried about with the Bucks. On the other side, Boston's defense, like I said on the show, they're going to need to get a Robert Williams type big man now that they traded him to Portland, because Porzingis is not going to be able to hang down low with the big boys.
I don't know about that. Like, when you think about Giannis over the last 3 to 4 years, he and his teams have been a problem, right? When he's healthy, Like, no, it's hard for people to beat them. So when you talk about like losing, I don't think that's a big loss for them. It's like, does the risk outweigh the reward or the pros and cons? So you lose a Drew Holiday, but you insert Dame Lillard. So what are you really losing? What
Defense.
are you gaining? Okay, but does Dame Lillard make up for the lack thereof?
Of
like,
defense?
No. Regardless, because there's so many ways. There's so many ways where you can win a game, right? Defense, obviously, it is a big part of the game. Scoring is a big part of the game. Coaching is a big part of the game. So you don't have to have all three or all four things rolling for you to be a contender. There's some teams that's won because of defense. There's some teams won because they were just exceptional down the stretch offensively. Some had amazing coaching. Some had it all. So I think that if they play into their strengths, right, they'll be absolutely fine. And that's a big if, right? Because health, they're getting older. Dame is 33. Giannis, he's not a young pup anymore. And you've seen over the last 2 years, he's missed some time with some injuries, right? Chris Middleton last year as well, injuries. I just think if they can stay healthy and they play their game, play into their strength, I still think they're the favorite.
Well, you definitely need all three aspects. I think the only thing that maybe you don't necessarily need, depending on who's on your team, is coaching. Like, for example, if you have a team of Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, do you necessarily need a Phil Jackson? No, because those guys alone, their talent will go ahead and override even a mediocre coach. Sometimes for a team like that, you simply just need a game manager. But I do think offense and defense, yes, you'll always have one that's stronger than the other, but you need both. You can't win just on offense alone. If you look, that was what the Brooklyn Nets tried to do in that Big Three era. They tried to bank on the fact that they were going to solely outscore the competition. And what happens is that when you lock up a player on that team that's responsible for 40 points a night, when you lock him up, now what do you do?
Well, I think that's a different case. That was their motive, but they never came together. I think in 2.5 years, that Big Three, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant played a total of 8 games together, and that's insane. So I don't think that for me, it's not fair to assess if it could have worked or not, because you had Kyrie Irving in his situation, KD stood tall, he was there. And then James Harden, he ended up getting hurt that first year that they were together. If James Harden was there, and there was no Kyrie, remember, but if James Harden was there, I think that they beat the Bucks, and they may be world champions. They may be, but there were so many different scenarios with James Harden being in and out, and then wanting to be out that last year that they were together, and then every other week it was something with Kyrie. But this team here, it feels a little different. It feels like there's not much conflict, not from a personality standpoint, not even from a chemistry standpoint. And just like what Dame said, it feels good. Now, Ashley, you're right. We got to go play the game now, right? They're like the Celtics, they're not going to just give it to you. Even with Embiid said, Philly, I don't think they have a chance. But Embiid said, because a reporter asked him, yesterday or 2 days ago, they said, so how do you feel about everything that's happening in the East, all these teams surpassing you? He's like, what teams are surpassing us, right? Like, yeah, there are teams surpassing, but what he's saying is we still got to go play the game. Like, the mission doesn't change. So the Miami Heat, the Celtics, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. I don't think that the Philadelphia 76ers are threatening anybody, but there's teams that's going to really challenge, the teams at the top.
Well, speaking of the Bucks, Giannis had an absolutely hilarious response to a reporter questioning why he didn't sign an extension this past offseason. He said, quote, "It did not make sense to sign a contract right now because money is not important. A lot of effing money is important. So I'm going to wait until next year." Listen to this.
It did not make sense to sign a contract right now, because money is not important. A lot of fucking money is important. So I'm going to sign it next year.
I love him.
Well, listen, Giannis played chess, not checkers, because he throughout the offseason, a little bit here, a little bit there. It was basically letting Milwaukee know, if you don't put me in a position to win another ring, I'm not signing anything. And lo and behold, Damian Lillard arrived.
And now he's like, I'm ready to sign.
So Giannis got what Giannis wanted. Once again, Milwaukee keeps their guy happy, and the season is going to be very, very interesting, especially in the East. And again, remember, the Celtics and the Bucks face off on November 22nd, so that is going to be one hell of a game. Now, look, you mentioned James Harden a few times in our past conversation. James Harden is still James Harden. He was not in Philadelphia for the team's media day yesterday, as a 10-time All-Star still wants to be traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this marks the second time in 3 years the 76ers guard is missing to start training camp. PJ Tucker spoke on Harden's absence and decision to stay away from the team and said, quote, "James Harden's my brother no matter what. Our relationship goes way beyond basketball. Whatever happens, happens. But the rest of us have come here and we're going to work and get ready to play." Listen to this.
Elephant in the room out of the way. It's just, with the situation with James, just where do you sort of land on it? I know he's a close friend of yours, but just how do you sort of navigate the situation personally and as a team?
Yeah, that's my brother. No question. Everybody's questioning social media posts on me. That's me having my brother's back no matter what. Our relationship goes way beyond basketball and the years we spent together. So that aside, he has this ongoing thing, and it is what it is. At this point, it is what it is. Whatever management he decide and whatever happens, happens. But the rest of us have to come here, go to work, and get ready to play.
Now, the Philadelphia 76ers are currently in Colorado, at Colorado State.
What?
Colorado.
Okay, just making sure. Colorado.
Okay. At Colorado State University for practice for training camp. James Harden has joined the team. He was missing from the team's practice yesterday, but he has joined training camp officially today. So he is in the building. But Woj gave a report that although James Harden was expected to join the 76ers eventually being today, his plan is to, quote, make the 76ers uncomfortable, so uncomfortable that ultimately they don't think they'll get the best out of him and they will make a trade.
Those are the questions right now, that are looming over this. James Harden wants a trade. He wants to make the 76ers uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, ultimately, that they don't think that they're going to get the best out of him and that they'll make a trade. The Sixers, on the other hand, they want to wait this out and hope they get the best James Harden, the best version of him sooner than later. But the Sixers' stance has been all along, there's not a deal out there right now that gets us back the kind of assets we need to improve this team and maybe it's not a great percentage, but it's still a better percentage play to wait out James Harden and to get him invested at some point this season in this Sixers team.
Yeah. This is how I feel about this conversation. This is how I feel about James Harden and this saga. This is how I feel about it. Bro, cut it out. Like, stop. Enough already. Like, you can't keep doing this. Like, this drives me crazy because I'm going to tell you why. You can't keep running away every time something doesn't go your way. You're a grown man. Play the game. Do the work. Show up. Like, okay, Houston, you did it. You left Houston. You go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn doesn't work out the way you want to. You force your way to Philly. Now you're in Philly, and Philly hasn't worked out the way you want to. Now you want to go to LA. Stop doing it. Like, stop running from it. It's annoying, and I get it. I understand. Daryl Morey is probably a liar. He's probably right. This is not the first time we've heard this about Daryl Morey. Multiple people cannot be wrong. But the guys on the court didn't screw you. The fans didn't screw you. Daryl Morey screwed you. But in the same regard, whatever Daryl Morey promised you was before you went MIA in the playoffs. If I'm an owner and I shake your hand and say, Brandon, yeah, I'm going to take care of you. I got you. And then you go out there and you half-ass your job. your appearance during the playoffs. You give me 1 game of productivity while Joel Embiid is not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
You want me to hold up my end of the bargain now?
Right.
That was under a totally different conversation. You went ahead, you took less money. Daryl Morey probably said, look, we got you. But it was an unspoken rule. While you do your job, while you do your part, you went out there and half-assed it, and now you want to go ahead and reap the benefits of it? For what?
Well, he didn't half-ass it.
He half-assed it, Brandon.
Let us down.
He
definitely let us down because we were expecting. Remember, he had 2 games where he went for like 40. It was legendary, and we were debating if he can keep it up, and he wasn't able to sustain that. It puts more pressure on a James Harden, older James Harden, when Joel Embiid is banged up. But that's what you get paid the big bucks to do. Like, you got to find a way to drop 30, 35, whatever it takes. KD did it when James Harden went down in Brooklyn, and Kyrie. You saw it. He was a toenail away from getting into the Eastern Conference Finals, into the finals. Excuse me. His foot was on the line. So we've seen players do that before. This is what I would say, Ashley. I disagree with you that he needs to stay there and figure it out. And the reason why is because they don't do that, right? So owners, management, when things aren't going their way around a particular player, what do? They cut them, or they trade them. So
not the same thing in the situation, Brandon.
I mean,
you know why it's not the same thing in this situation?
It's when they don't get their way. Oh, I expected James Harden to do X, Y, Z. They do whatever they want to do. What's best for them.
He half-assed a playoff appearance.
He didn't half-ass
Brandon,
it.
pull up his stats. He half-assed it. He gave us 1 game.
When you say half-ass,
like he always does.
When you say half-ass, what I'm taking from that is that he didn't give effort. That's a big difference.
He didn't give effort. Did you watch him?
He didn't give effort?
Brandon, James Harden's notorious for this. When everything is going right. James Harden is phenomenal. James Harden gives you maximum effort. When he has the ball in his hand and it's his show and his rodeo or whatever the case is, he is giving you everything you can ask for. The minute something goes wrong in a course of a game, the minute something doesn't unfold the way that you want to, he checks out. I'm here, but I'm not really here.
I didn't see it that way.
Pull up his stats
What I saw, and we talked about this, what I saw in the playoffs was James Harden fighting his ass off to finally try to get it done. Remember they were fighting amongst each other on the bench. James Harden was really aggressive. And I was like, that's actually a good thing for a team, right? When you have your superstars holding guys accountable.
That was PJ Tucker.
Was PJ Tucker?
It was PJ Tucker, not James Harden.
It was PJ Tucker. You're right. It was PJ Tucker. But what I saw when Joel Embiid went down was the game plan shift from stopping Joel Embiid to stopping James Harden. And he was trying to make the best basketball decision. What do you want him to do when now he's being doubled? What do you want him to do?
Brandon, I believe he gave 6 points in one of those games? You want to get paid off a 6-point performance? Pull up his stats. James Harden is notorious for this. He goes missing in the playoffs. He goes missing when it counts the most. His effort on defense is almost non-existent. His effort on offense is prevalent on everything going his way. Yeah. Half the time it looks like he doesn't even want to be there. And let's not go ahead and also ignore the fact he has all of these demands. He has all of these superstar asks. He wants to be treated this way. He wants to be able to miss this practice. He wants to be able to be in Vegas and then fly in, and he wants to do this, and that. Did you get a ring in Houston? Did you get a ring in Brooklyn? Did you get a ring in Philly? You have all of these superstar demands. You have this big ego, this big just like, I'm James Harden, treat me the way I want to be treated. What do you have to show for it? What do you get? What do you bring to an organization that would make anybody bend over backwards to give you what you need? Half the time you bring a bad attitude. Half the time you bring minimal or zero effort on defense. You bring minimal effort on offense unless the world is your oyster and everything is perfect, which is not the case. Trials and tribulations of a season will happen. Men will go down. Stars will go down. Next man up. James Harden has shown he cannot be next man up.
So I hear what you're saying, but you go out and you pay a player Okay, you pay a player. That player's production dip, maybe his attitude changed, whatever it is, he doesn't fit anymore into what you're trying to do. You trade him, you cut him. So James Harden, he doesn't feel like Daryl Morey was truthful. He feel like he lied to him. He doesn't feel like this is the best situation for him. So James Harden is doing exactly what they have done. But every time it's a player doing what they have done or what they do, we want to bash the player. No, James Harden he doesn't feel comfortable there. He wants to go.
Come on,
he
Brandon.
wants to go.
He doesn't feel comfortable. Why? Because
it doesn't
Daryl
matter.
Morey
But
told
that's
him
not even
Santa
it.
Claus
Listen,
was real.
the point that I'm making is, if they can do it, why not the players?
Because it's different, Brandon.
Why is it different? It's business.
We're not talking about a Damian Lillard situation where you got to do what's best for you at this point because you have given everything to an organization and it is not working. We're talking about James Harden, who forced his way out of Brooklyn to go to this team. And now because you had maybe 1 or 2 bad years as a team, Daryl Morey said that he was going to pay you probably under the guise of you doing what you can for this team. That didn't happen. And instead of just figuring out a way through it, because the Clippers are not—
The way through it is be a man of your word and pay them, Daryl Morey.
The Clippers are not calling you, James. They reneged on trade talks. They're worried about their season. They're not calling for James Harden. They don't care. So what is your alternative? You're just going to sit out and be a big baby and let Joel Embiid down, PJ Tucker down, the guys that wear the same jersey as you? For what?
Player signs a deal. Player signs a deal. You've paid me $100 million over 5. You're going to pay me $100 million over 5 years. Year 1, you overperform. You outperform the contract. Hell, you were worth $30 million. Second year, you hit exactly what you were supposed to do. Your value, $20 million. In the third year, your performance dips. Okay, you really look like a $15 million player. And then the fourth year, you look like a $13 million player because you just had an injury. And now in the 5th year, they owe you $20 million, but they ask you to take a pay cut because
they
asked you to take a pay cut because you're We don't even know all that information. Your production dips because of injury, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're asking you to take a pay cut, or they're ready to cut you, or or trade you. They do that year after year after year, 1,000 times in the NBA, 1,000 times in the NFL. Player, the same situation. I hear what you're saying. Well, James Harden's production dip. He didn't give you what he wanted. So I want someone else. Because they do it. They do it. They do it. Do you not see that? Do you not see what they do the same thing? We signed the deal. Hold on. Why won't they just answer this question? Why won't they respect the deal that they have signed?
They didn't sign a deal to give him more money.
I'm talking about the NBA period. The
what
NFL
deal?
period. Any contract that they sit down with the player.
They didn't sign a contract saying, James, we're going to give you more money. James Harden took a pay cut because he believed that the Philadelphia 76ers, because of whatever verbal conversation he had with them, were going to go ahead and pay him on the back end. He took a pay cut so they could get PJ Tucker and other pieces to go ahead and win. Joel Embiid goes down in the playoffs. James Harden does not produce what he needs to produce to help this team win. So I hear what you're saying. Yes, in a perfect world, should Daryl Morey go ahead and pay him anyway because he said he was going to? But on the other side,
no, it's not. That's so fine. He has no. All I'm saying, stay right there.
So do you think he should get paid for not doing anything?
No, listen, that's fine. Daryl Morey. Well, first off, it's not fine if they had a handshake agreement, something under the table. So that's not fine. That's why he's pissed off, right? You're not a man of your word. But Daryl Morey can do whatever he wants to do in his position. He chose not to pay James Harden, and James Harden has the right to say, let me out. I don't agree with James Harden in all his ways. I'll tell you right now, if I'm a team, I'm not trading for James Harden. All I'm saying is, if they do it, James Harden can do the same thing. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. You don't want to pay me? You don't want to pay me?
Listen.
You don't want to pay me? I'll go somewhere else. And Ashley, you asked me earlier.
I'm not saying that he can't. I agree with you. I'm simply saying I hear it. If they do it, we should be able to do it. But I think that if you're going to go ahead and play that game, if you're going to go ahead and try to move the same with the same ideology, that's fine. The work better back it up. Otherwise, you look foolish. Because James Harden is moving. If James Harden had a phenomenal showing in that playoff series, and Daryl Morey was moving the way that he was, everyone's team's James Harden, and I guarantee you someone trades for him.
I agree.
But because of how he ended that series, and he's still going ahead and pulling this diva move, everyone's looking at it like, bro, you want them to go ahead and reward you for what?
No, I don't think that's what he's asking. He's saying I just want to trade me now. You didn't reward me, so trade me.
Well, ain't nobody calling James.
He averaged 20 points, 11. So he averaged.
Listen.
In the first series, he went 23. He had 23 points, 8 points, 21, 17. Then they went to Boston, 45, and that's what shocked us. So 45, 12, 16, 42, 17, 13, 9. That's what he did.
The phone ain't ringing
on that Bucks
and
score.
James is in Colorado with his team. So we will see how this saga plays out. All I know is that if he's going to go ahead and make the 76ers uncomfortable and cause a scene like what we said, I hope there are cameras rolling because I would like to see that. We have a few more minutes left in the show, so we're going to save the rest of the basketball topics for tomorrow because we have to go ahead.
It was so good.
We have to go ahead and recap and take a look at the Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Week nominees for Week 4. And listen, we want to go ahead and there we go, roll that graphic.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Week nominees for Week 4. And this is your reminder to go ahead and vote now at NFL.com/voting/rookie. So here are the nominees. Brandon, who you leaning towards?
Vote Puka. Vote Puka. I'm saying it right now. Let me get a tight. Come to me, please. Vote Puka. Vote Puka. Vote Puka. Okay, I wish I had my little sign on the corner somewhere. Vote Puka. Vote Puka. Why vote Puka? Because we haven't seen this ever before in the history of the NFL. CJ Stroud. Mwah, beautiful. Who would have thought? Bijan Robinson. Excuse me. Mwah. Superstar already. We're giving you that status. But we've seen that at the running back position before. We've seen that at the quarterback position before. We've never seen this at the wide receiver position before. So not only am I voting Puka right now for this week, and I had to really sit on this and think about it, I'm also putting Puka, Ashley, as the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year award, period. If he can keep this up and maintain it, and it looks like he can. And Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, they love him. And even when Cooper Kupp comes back, I still think he's going to be the go-to guy because you can't go away from the hot guy, but it's going to open it up for him even more. So we haven't seen this before. This is special.
Well, listen, voting already closed, Brandon.
What do you mean?
Voting
at 12?
Voting closed at 12 p.m. and the nominee becomes the winner at noon. So we know who won this award for this week.
Who won?
Can we go ahead and
Who
get
won?
that?
Who won?
Who won?
Puka. Puka. Don't say they're gonna say CJ Stroud. They always give it to the quarterback.
It is the quarterback.
Puka, I tried. Down to the wire, the last second. Listen, it's respectable.
Yeah.
He's playing next level. No disrespect to CJ Stroud. Hopefully we get him here in a couple of weeks just to talk about, his legendary season that he's having. But we just never seen this before.
It's absolutely incredible. And speaking of incredible, we had a chance to talk to the rookie Christian Eisen Jr., and we're going to play a little bit of that for you now.
Undrafted. No one's expecting a lot, right? Throwing you at nickel, throwing you at safety. How was that feeling, knowing that you were nominated?
Yeah, it was a blessing, honestly, man. I didn't expect it. I wasn't too familiar with the Rookie of the Week thing was. Honestly, I didn't know about it beforehand. So just having the opportunity to be nominated for that was a blessing. Everybody at home, that's the most important to me, making everybody at home proud. A lot of the kids where I'm from, they look up to me, they text me, stuff like that. I got parents calling me, they play, their kids want to play sports because of me and stuff like that. So just having an impact on the community, that's really big for me. And whether I won or not, it was just big to have the opportunity for the people at home to see it, to see somebody doing something positive.
Sitting at this desk. Oh, we are live.
We are live. Listen, that does it for Yo Rookie. presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of
You
the
like
Week.
saying yo rookie.
I do. I like saying that.
Yo rookie.
I
I'm
like saying
yo rookie.
Yo rookie.
You like saying it. You like that in home.
I do. I like hump day. Listen, Appreciate it. Roll that graphic. Look.
Before we go,
we got one more basketball topic that we'll hit. We'll save the more in-depth ones for tomorrow. I feel like we can't close out the show without doing this.
Before you do that, before we go there, I saw in the chat today that someone saying, "Man, shout out to you guys because the video cues are on point."
Nice.
Right. So it starts with Ashley. Ashley's been our super producer behind the scenes the last few weeks, so that's why the show is running so smooth. And also BC and Woo in the back. Yes, because the cues, like we've been learning and developing a lot. So I want to show some love to BC and Woo back there for just being on point.
Well, listen, we appreciate everybody listening on Sirius XM Faction Talk 103. Again, if you are listening, but you want to watch all the craziness that goes down, make sure you head over to the I Am Athlete YouTube page and watch what we're doing in studio. Before we go, Jimmy Butler is the gift that keeps on giving. Jimmy Butler is the ultimate troll, and he continued his tradition of trolling the media on Media Day by debuting a new look. And unfortunately, it's not the dreads that he had last year. So this is Jimmy last year, and this is Jimmy this year. Yeah, I'm gonna need him to you know what? The style wouldn't have been so bad if he added he trimmed the edges a little bit, condition. Because if you're gonna wear a bob, it's gotta have a bump to it. You know what I mean? Like a little tight little swivel. He's got an eyebrow piercing. He's got 3 lip piercings. And a lot of funny memes transpired from Jimmy's new look. So here's one. Check this one out. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so this is the girl from Catfish. And she catfished, I think, her cousin. And when he asked why she catfished him, she goes, this is the cousin, the girl catfish, that you can't see the girl. They're related some way or shape or form. And he said, why did you catfish me? Why did you pretend to be, someone that was interested in me? And she goes, you should have never have called me a fat ass Kelly Price. That was the whole reason that she did it. So it was this whole thing, but that's what he looked like.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah. So that's one.
That was a good show, Catfish, but kind of scary.
Yeah,
definitely
Catfish
scary.
is crazy. We got another meme in the mix. What's this one? Fallout Boy. So very much Fallout Boy Pete's Wentz. He's flipping his hair mid-convo. He kind of looks like Lil Uzi, too.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I can see Little Uzi there. I can even see the
Fallout
Boys there.
This ain't what you want. Yeah, he looks like a little Uzi there. What's the other one we got? What's the next one? They already updated his photo on StatMuse. Bubble Jimmy, finals appearance. Dreads Jimmy, finals appearance. Emo Jimmy, finals win. He kind of... I don't mind the cartoon version.
So I had my brother in here yesterday, and we were talking about this, and he was like, yo, do you really know what Jimmy's doing and saying right now? He's like, this is an anime character. Mm-hmm. So if you understood the anime character, and it's right here. Let me I don't know if we can get a shot here. Right, so this anime character is like a assassin, like a sniper. And he was explaining to me, because I'm not an anime fan, but basically what he's saying is like, no, Jimmy is telling y'all what he's about to do or what he's trying to do. So I think that we need to go a little deeper with Jimmy. I'm thinking like there's messages within these characters. And this one, right, like this emo anime character can be defined in many ways, but often they embrace dark emotions and show the full extent of their pain. So when you know who this character is in that world, and you can see he doesn't get Dame Lillard, and he came out and said, my emotions, I felt like this, and he was talking about it. I think what Jimmy is saying is, I'm going to get in my bag this year, and I'm going to be an assassin this year. Y'all done pissed me off. That's what I think is happening.
It's his villain arc? Is that what you're saying?
That's the anime character.
Well, we shall see. But we got 2 more memes before we close out the show. Can we go ahead? This one, Jimmy Butler looking like he should be singing, "We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time." Do you know who that is?
No, old R&B singer.
You don't know who that is? That's Jermaine Stewart.
Who's Jermaine Stewart?
He's a old R&B singer. He says we don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time.
I keep telling you, Ashley, I played on 6 teams. 53 dudes in the roster once the final cut down day. I barely knew half of them.
All right, we got one
Everybody
more.
was Bud. Everybody was Bud. What up, Bud? What up, Bud? Bud, you good? Bud.
We got one more, and this one's one of my favorites. Jimmy Butler looking like Andre 3000. Remember this video from the Hey Ya? You remember that song? Shake it like a Polaroid picture?
That's
the
right.
love below. Oh, Jimmy, never change. Jimmy, never change.
This is dope.
Well,
I like this. It's like the creativity we were talking about earlier. This is dope. Like, I like it. I want him to, like, come out with some type of, like, story or book telling us, like, every character, what it meant for him and why. Has he done that yet? Like, why I did the dreads last year, the weave. Like, this is wild.
I don't think so. I think he just does it and then he moves on.
Why didn't he start this early in his career? Like, just imagine if there was, like, 7 or 8 of these characters that we can show and debate and talk about. It's fun. You like it. You're not enjoying it?
I don't like the hairstyle.
You don't like the story, though? You don't like the conversation around it?
Listen, I like Jimmy, don't like the hair. We like you guys listening to us. That does it for this edition of Paper Route. We will see you tomorrow. We'll talk more basketball.
They're not even at the top
anymore.
We'll
talk some more football. Thursday Night Football. We'll have our preview. We'll dissect that. Maybe Aaron Rodgers will say something crazy. Who knows?
That's right.
You got to wait and see.
We need some more hats.
See ya.
Who's at the top now?